Hi friends, Lynn here from my family room, from my couch. I wanted to make this video specifically on my couch because I am using this video to define what yoga is to the best of my ability because it is something that is pretty difficult to define. And I think that it gets more confusing if I were to be sitting in a more classic um, yoga pose slash room slash on a mat. So if you were to see me on a mat, my legs crossed, you might think like, oh, that's yoga. That's what makes sense to me. But I'm here to tell you that that's just like the fingernail of yoga. If my whole body is yoga, sitting in a cross-legged position on a mat is my fingernail. Um, and when I started learning about yoga, the first thing I wrote in my journal was, I've never been more confused as to what yoga is my whole life. I thought I had it nailed. Like, I go to a class and I practice my yoga, and then I leave that class and I know what yoga is. I went to a yoga class. I get it. No, that's not the case. So, yoga, you might hear terms like yoga is a practice for the mind, body, and spirit. Yoga is a practice for anxiety. Yoga is a practice for mental health and stress management. But what do all of these things really mean to you? Um, so yoga is more of a life system, more of a way of living. Yoga can be in the way we walk. Yoga can be in conversation with our loved ones or strangers. Um, Yoga can be present while we're doing the dishes. Yoga can be present when we wake up in the morning, in those few seconds where we feel groggy, but we already have thoughts running through the mind. Yoga can be part of that process. Um, so to give you a more condensed definition, uh, yoga is a life system. It can be all around us, all day long, all night long. It can, or it rather, it is a relationship between teacher and student. Um, the student learns from the teacher, and then the teacher learns from the student. So it's a forever learning, growing system together. And then eventually, the student then outgrows the teacher because they start to understand the fundamentals of yoga. The only way to really understand what yoga is, it's not in a book, it's not in an article, it's not even through this message right here. It's really practicing. Practicing yoga is the only way to truly understand it because yoga is a practice for the individual. Once you start practicing yoga, your practice will never be like anyone else's in the whole world. It'll be unique to you and your experience. And that's why it's a beautiful thing to then talk about and explore as you start to get to know this practice and get to know yourself a little bit more. Yoga helps us unravel some of that anxiety or stress or armor that we build up around who we truly are because society tells us to do that because we don't want to get hurt. Yoga is going to start peeling off the armor, allowing ourselves to be more comfortable in our own skin. These are just a few things. I'm just barely skimming the top of what yoga is. So if you're more curious now and you're more confused now, you're starting to get it. It's not something that's easily defined. But if you do want to learn more, you should watch the next video. Thanks for tagging along. Thanks for being here with me. Namaste.